Maybe I've been out here in the woods too long by myself, but I just got up and there's something. Can you see that thing? Look at this. Let's see. See, you see that white thing that's like slowly falling down now? It was like floating. Okay, there goes its landing. Come on, Echo. It's just floating there, like through the sky. And I'm like, oh, it's tethered to something. It's a UFO. I think it's probably just a spider web. Oh, here it is. Some sort of fuzz. You see that, Echo? What is it? It's sticky. I mean, it was flying. I just woke up, so I'm a little groggy. I'm taking the dogs into town today just because we need to get some supplies, just some basic stuff, but we are pretty close to being out of propane, and you can tell it's cold. Right now I got my gloves out. Actually, this is the first day I got my gloves out. I started wearing my long underwear a couple days ago, and jacket and hat have been necessary at night and in the morning. But last night it got down to freezing. This ground out here is just kind of now thawing out. But I'm hiking the dogs a little bit before we get in the truck to get back and get some propane in town. And I also need dog food. The dogs eat like a certain brand of dog food. You can only get it at certain places, so I have places marked on Google Maps where I can pick up their food. And we only have to drive about 15 miles to go get their food. And since we're going into town to do those things, I scheduled a Walmart pickup, only like $40 or $50 worth of groceries. But that's really all I need for the next few days until we hit the road again and keep heading south. And eventually I'll be able to hit a Costco. And so I just kind of keep those things in my head, like, what are my plans on the road? Where am I going to get gas? How much food am I going to need? Do I need to get all my supplies here, or can I kind of wait and get them on the road? So you're just kind of planning those things out, and that's just how I live. There's our house right now, which is pretty freaking awesome. This is a great place to camp. It's very quiet. You can kind of hear the road noise, but other than that, there's very little other noise going on out here. There's elk and deer and a lot of coyote. There's also grouse out, and we've run into all those things out here. I haven't seen any deer or elk yet, but we hear them all the time, especially at night and in the mornings, but especially at nighttime, they're coming through here. And so the dogs like to get out in the morning and sniff where the elk have come through, and the coyotes too. We've seen coyotes and a lot of coyote scat out here, and you hear them. They go crazy at night. It's kind of weird. The coyotes in different areas, they have different calls and different sounds. They all sound a little different. And of course, coyotes, they look really different too. I mean, coyotes are a pretty versatile animal. Let's go check out camp real quick. I'll show you what I got, and then I gotta detach the truck. Come on, Echo. So we can head into town. I think I've been here a week now, maybe a little longer. And this is our campsite. You can see how I washed the truck a little while ago in the rain. Just got out a little bit of Simple Green and just kind of wipe it down as the rain's coming down, and then I use the rain to rinse it off. I did that at a couple campsites ago, and it's still looking pretty good. The trailer's holding up really good. As the weather changes and goes into the colder season, you start to notice differences in power consumption, how much power you're using, but how much power you can actually take in on the solar panels. The fridge runs on propane, and also the stove obviously runs on propane, but the heater runs on propane, and it also uses electricity. And I've talked about this before. It's one of my main issues when it gets cold is I kind of get low on power. I do have the generator out. You can see I got it there under the trailer, and I've been using that to keep the batteries charged, because once you get clouds, and we've had some cloudy days, it looks like the sun's going to come out today, but you're not producing any or not much solar power, and that's just not enough to be able to sit inside a lot because it's so cold or rainy. So you're kind of in there watching TV or on the computer. Then you have to deal with the temperature. These things are, they're not super well insulated, so they kind of take on whatever temperature is happening outdoors, and it only takes a few hours, and the trailer will equalize with the temperature outside. You're going to want to be running the heater. These guys are like, get off the camera and feed us. It's their breakfast time. So here's the heater exhaust. And one thing I am cautious of is making sure this cable, which is the power cable, which usually, you'll plug that into shore power. In this case, I have it plugged into the generator. But if that gets close to this vent, I'm pretty sure you could melt that thing, because it gets very hot, the exhaust coming out of here. So I'm always cautious that this thing doesn't like swing over or kind of loop over that way, because that would be a disaster. But when you're running the heater, it uses a fair amount of propane. A lot of propane. It'll use a gallon a day if you're running the heater throughout the day and night. In this case, I'm pretty much just running it a little bit in the daytime, and at night I've been turning it off actually. Last night was the coldest night, and I was like, it's just me and the dogs. We're gonna get under the covers, and we did. Dodger stayed on top of the covers, of course. He's not much of a snuggler unless it's super, super cold. And it got below freezing a little bit, and we were cozy under the covers, me and Echo. When you're running the heater, you're using electricity to run the fan, and the fan is pretty powerful. And if I want to do things in there like run the water pump or watch TV, which I've been doing a lot because it's been raining a couple days, so you're kind of inside watching TV, then you're using electricity and you're not bringing any in. So then you got to bring the generator out. And the rain comes, and you got to pull the awning out. And the awning will keep the generator dry, and so you can, maintain your power levels that way. That's mostly what I've been thinking about. If it sounds like I'm like stressed about it or anything like that, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I just want to reinforce the idea that those things are important, and those are things that will come into play if you go on the road for, the cold season. You're going to have to deal with those things. Now, I got 2 batteries up in the front here, and those are golf cart batteries. And that's where I get all my power. That's where I store all my power. They don't have a huge capacity, but they do work well once they're fully charged. My plan now is I'm going to be heading south, and I'm going to find a campsite there that's really, really nice, get a lot of sun and warm enough. And I'm hoping to get some lithium batteries. So stay tuned in these videos coming up. In the future, it's probably a ways down the road, but I do need to replace these batteries, and I want to do that with lithium. There's some serious upgrades that I have to do to make that happen. So I need to look into that. Things like I've heard like the alternator in the truck could have an issue. Because there's different voltages, I guess, with the lithium battery. And when you're towing the trailer, then those two are hooked up electrically. So I got to be careful of that, because supposedly you can ruin the alternator in your truck. The other thing is, in the trailer comes with basically a charger for the battery system that you have. So when you plug into shore power, the battery can constantly charge. But it's not set up for lithium batteries, so you have to buy a whole new charging panel. And I have to find out how difficult that is, how much that unit costs, and how difficult it is to install. Then after that, there's a whole situation of just hooking up the batteries to the trailer and to the solar panels and getting that all running with breakers and all that kind of stuff. So we'll kind of see if I attempt that project. I'll probably be in an area where there's other people who are really good with solar. So it would probably behoove me to recruit some of the brain power of people who have done this before. So if there's any of you out there that are going to be down south, specifically southern Arizona, then you can send me an email. And of course on Patreon, you can contact me on Patreon. If you're not a member on Patreon, I'm not sure if you can contact me. But there are free memberships on Patreon too. So contact me. Let me know if you think you can help me install some lithium batteries. Then that might be really helpful to me coming up here in the next couple months. I'm gonna feed these guys. I want to show you how I do the dog food. What I have here is I got this food bucket. It's like one of those survival kits. And I store their food in here and then also all their pills. This is airtight and watertight, so it works for us. You can see these guys, they're out of food. So we got food for breakfast and that's it. So that's why I got to head into town. I know you guys have seen me feed the dogs before. Oh, there's ice in their water. I leave a jug of water out when I know it's going to be freezing at night, just so I can kind of monitor like the temperature outside. And it's a little bit frozen, about a third frozen. I just take a jug of water and I just stick it outside right by the door, so I can just reach outside of the door whenever I want and kind of check the temperature that way. Is it freezing or not? I'm trying to get the dogs used to having the camera over there. Over here. Here, sit. Dodger, you hungry? Are you hungry? Come on, speak. Yes. They're actually pretty low on food. They're not going to get their full breakfast and full portion. But that's okay. I can supplement it with some other stuff. Echo, yes. And the fish pills, fish oil. I want to show you guys something that somebody sent me. This company said they would send me this item, and I decided I would need it. And I'm kind of excited that I accepted from them, because this is kind of an awesome thing to have. You know, camp chairs, I just threw a camp chair away. I throw one or two away every year. And they're those cheap ones, you know, that you get at like Costco or Walmart or whatever. And they fold up, and, you know, they're standard camp chairs. They're like 10 or 20 bucks. They break constantly. They're constantly breaking. And I use them so regularly and in different environments and the sun and all that, that they don't last long. So to have something that's a little sturdier was kind of my goal. But if you want a sturdy camp chair, they're expensive. Now this one is I think it's about an $80 chair. They have really expensive ones. They have double ones. They have extra thick padded ones. They have ones that are heated. And I told them, just send me your most basic chair, because that's really what I want and that's really what I need. And so they sent me this. Now, one thing I'm deciding is this bag, like, you know, it's nice to have a bag for your chair, and all chairs come with a bag, but it just makes it a pain in the butt. The cool thing about this chair that I'm kind of just realizing now is that it's got this strap here. So you can just strap it, and then the legs are held together, and now you just store it like this. And it weighs about maybe 15 pounds. Not quite 15 pounds, probably 12, 14 pounds, something like that. It's a little bit heavier than your normal camp chair, but it is comfortable. Now, it doesn't do any real special tricks, like as far as lounging back. It doesn't have like a footrest. You know, like I said, it's their basic model. But I've used this for a few weeks now, and it's super comfortable. I've actually fell asleep in it several times. So Relead is the company. There's a link down in the description below, and if you click on that, it helps us out a little bit if you buy one through that link on Amazon. I like this chair. It's lasted me a few weeks, like I said. Who knows how long it's gonna last, but honestly, I haven't noticed any tears or deterioration, anything like that yet. And a lot of times you'll start to see that. You'll see little plastic clips breaking or the fabric starting to shred a little bit. It hasn't happened with this. Now somewhere, okay, yeah, it does have a cup holder, which does fall out when you're transporting it. I think that's the only negative thing I could say about this is the cup holder falls out. And I don't know, maybe it locks. Actually, I think it does lock. There's a little locking tab right here. Oh, there, solved that problem. Okay, so it doesn't fall out. It locks in and it tilts up for storage and all that. I'm not gonna show you all the features, but I want you to see the back does tilt, a little bit. So you can lean back a little bit and you get a little bit more relaxation that way. Let me sit down in it and I'll show you. And see, that's pretty comfortable. I'm setting the chair up right now because I'm going to edit the next video for you guys. And it's a little weird. Like, I'm not trying to tell you this is the best chair. You should definitely get this chair. I'm just saying, like, hey, I use products and they sent me this for free. And this is my experience with it. And so far, it's a really good experience. And this is just to show you guys, like, how I go through products when I buy them, which I don't do too often. When a company sends me a product, I really want to try it out and see if it helps our life, if it hinders our life, if it causes too much clutter, if I can reduce some of my other gear, then that's always a bonus.